Some of you were asking where was the credit to Xavi, to Iniesta, to Luis Enrique, to Guardiola. Well, this is it. What's going on, guys? ¿Cómo están? BugaLuis here and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Today, what we're going to be doing is building up the Barcelona team of the decade. It's 2019, it's the 25th, so it's Christmas Day, and it's only around 6 days before the decade is over. So a lot of you will be already thinking about this yourself, and I encourage you to start building your team as I go on with this video and put it in the comment box down below. And one final thing I have to say before the video starts is that there's going to be 2 nominees per position, and a lot of the things that are going to be weighing up who I decide is going to be either awards or their duration and basically their talent. So the very first position is going to go for me to Marc-André ter Stegen. It was either between ter Stegen and Victor Valdés. Valdés did an outstanding job, do not get me wrong. He's a legend at the club. He's simply one of the best goalkeepers we've had ever. But when I think about simply the goalkeeper for Barcelona, even though Valdés was that unique mold, I think ter Stegen has broke the mold and kind of even increased it. I think that talent-wise, he's better than Valdés. The Zamora awards that Valdés has won is something that simply I cannot take away from him because ter Stegen has still not managed to win that. He hasn't kept clean sheets. He hasn't kept the most clean sheets in La Liga, and that is mostly due to Jan Black, another goalkeeper with amazing talent. But if we're actually talking about Barcelona, what they have done, they have achieved very similar things. We're talking about La Ligas, we're talking about Champions Leagues, we're talking about simply having the consistency to remain at number one at the tops of levels. So the only thing that for me is the difference is the talent. And I can safely say that right now ter Stegen is the best goalkeeper in the world. I do not think that I could have done the same with Valdés at the start of the decade. So moving on to the right back position, we got 2 nominees, Dani Alves and Sergi Roberto. And I think this one is very straightforward, isn't it? I have to go with Dani Alves. Don't get me wrong, Sergi Roberto has surpassed all expectations, to be honest. I thought that when basically Barcelona announced, per se, because they didn't buy any other right back, that Sergi Roberto was going to be our future, fullback, I was a little bit worried, and a lot of you were also worried as well, I believe. The thing with Sergi Roberto is that the attitude, the personality that this player puts in, basically the balls that he gave in every single game, and still does, is basically the most important thing, I believe, that has helped him level up with someone like Dani Alves. More importantly, his name has also become a synonym for remontadas in our club. We're talking against Sevilla, we're talking against especially Paris Saint-Germain. But the quality of Dani Alves, what he managed to do with the club, be the most decorative player apart from Lionel Messi this decade, is something just outstanding. It's simply outstanding. Dani Alves deserves to be in this list and in everyone's list for simply the best fullback, the best right back of the entire decade. He is wonderful. So for the first center back position, there are 2 nominees. I've selected Gerard Piqué and Rafa Márquez. Rafa Márquez was pretty awesome, pretty cool. Mexico, Barcelona, made a lot of sense. And a lot of the players that if you hear them in interviews, they would say that one of the hardest defenders that they ever had to beat is Rafa Márquez. But Márquez has only been in the decade with Barcelona for 2 years. And that's not enough, of course, to break the legacy of someone as big as Gerard Piqué. Gerard Piqué is the ideal defender for Barcelona, and any defender that is aspiring to be a ball-playing center back has to look at Piqué. In the history books, Piqué is going to be as the first center back that managed to play with the ball literally like any other outside midfielder or forward. He has that quality in him, he has the instinct. And plus, he's also a personality in the dressing room. He's really that important to Barcelona, has been that inside voice that sometimes we are lacking. So Piqué here is simply he won his place in this decade before anybody else. So the next center back is where I have a lot of trouble to decide, really. You may think it's really easy, but it was super hard for me. I'm gonna go with Carles Puyol, but don't get me wrong, Mascherano. I love Mascherano. El Jefecito, 7 years here at Barca, not even being a center back, not even buying another center back to replace someone who wasn't a center back from the start. He didn't have the physical attributes, the height, the strength, but he was always there, consistent in and around the team. And yeah, he was kind of like a very good center back overall, very good player, very professional and everything. I really like the dude, but you have to give it to Carles Puyol, the ideal captain, the ideal human, the ideal footballer, the ideal everything. Carles Puyol, if he was right now at Barcelona, this would be an entirely different team. I can guarantee you, because he was not going to remain shut. If he didn't like something in the managerial positions, Valverde, he would have gone out there in the press conference and say something like, "Oh, I don't like the player," or he would kind of like be in the dressing room against Liverpool and Roma, and of course have some sort of impact on another team, on our other players like Messi, like Piqué, like Suarez. He would have kind of motivate them or kind of shoulder what they were doing wrong. He was always there and constant, and more importantly, he was just fair. We all know what he has done on his fair plays. Those you can have a complete highlight reel of fair play moments from Carles Puyol, and that just does it for me, because football, like I always say, is what happens on the field 50%, which he was incredible, but also 50% outside the field. And Carles Puyol was the ideal mold of the ideal footballer, of the ideal defender, of the ideal captain, and is what right now Barcelona are lacking. That tells you how big he was. In the left back position, we got two different options, Eric Vidal and Jordi Alba. Once again, very easy to the other fullback. I have to go with Jordi Alba. More importantly, that he has been here for a longer period of time than Eric Vidal, but I think that we've seen these last few years how good of an all-round player he is, not just simply being a kind of a system player for Barcelona. We've seen literally attacking-wise how important and vital he is to the team, creating chances, going forward, overlapping. He's constantly there. And there was a moment last season, where I would say Jordi Alba was literally in the top 10 players in the world, in my opinion. In my opinion, he was up there. He was not only the best left back or the best fullback for me, he was, like I said, competing simply because of how important he was to our team. And Jordi Alba right now, when we've been having junior football, yes, he has been doing a good job, but if we want to win all of the next trophies, we need to keep Jordi Alba in it with the team, keep the rhythm, keep the consistency, and we need him firing in full cylinders, because he is vital and crucial to this Ernesto Valverde side. Moving on to the midfield, here's where I have to spend a little bit less time, because it's obvious. Busquets, Xavi, and Iniesta is simply obvious. I said I was going to have two nominees per position, and I do. Instead of Xavi, you could possibly put Rakitic, because he has been also very, very important, just adding so much stability after Xavi was gone and being the starter in that season when we won the treble with Luis Enrique. And then in substitute of Iniesta, I put Cesc Fabregas, but his time at Barcelona wasn't the longest, and when he performed, he wasn't the best. He was a good overall midfielder and one of the best we've had this decade, but certainly not enough to beat someone like Iniesta. And for Busquets, I didn't even have a substitute, my goodness. There, we haven't replaced Busquets from the start of the decade. We haven't. We couldn't say Keita, that's it. Rakitic has played there sometimes, and then De Jong has dropped in now in this season. But overall, Busquets simply has been a pivotal moment and the main spine alongside Piqué and Messi, which we're going to be talking, of course, later on, of this team. And we didn't even need to touch them. I think that Xavi and Iniesta and Busquets are literally the complete midfield, the best midfield ever to rule over football. And I would be surprised if in a lot of people's kind of overall team of the decade, they are not there. Not even just for Barcelona, but for the entirety of European football. Finally, moving towards the front line, we got on the left wing the nominees of Pedro Rodriguez Ledesma or Neymar Jr. I'm going to be going with Neymar personally. Some of you are going to be going with Pedro, I know for sure, I know for certain. Pedro was an incredible player for Barcelona and still is, even for Chelsea at this age. He always puts everything on that field and I really, really love him for that. His simply attitude to track back, to always try to kind of mark the player who's running in the counter-attack. He's always trying to put everything in its game, and that's something that I really, really praise. But let's not kid ourselves. When Neymar was in this team, and even if we kind of, some of you hate him right now, I particularly dislike him a little bit, but I still overall like him as a person, as a personality, as a person, I don't know. But let's not kid ourselves. Neymar, when he was in this team past his first season with Barca, he was just incredible. The flicks, the goals, the assists, the output, the understanding with Messi and then the other striker that we're gonna be talking about, but I guess I just gave it away. It was incredible. So Neymar is gonna be on my list, definitely 100%. The striker, I already kind of hinted at, is going to be Luis Suarez. David Villa was once again incredible, but the duration of his period in this side wasn't the longest of times. And I think that when he was here, yes, he was clinical. He was just one of the best natural finishers I've seen. And especially for being here at Barca for 3 years and having that amount of goals in that ratio and just winning that much is superb. 2 Champions Leagues, literally. He came here, bang, 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 and did everything he needed to do and just left. But Luis Suarez, when he came to Barca, he just revolutionized his game, and so did the team as well. Really, Luis Suarez was something else. And the key reason that I'm gonna put him here on this list is I remember that season of 15-16 where he scored plus 40 goals, beat Messi to the Golden Boot. And that wasn't because Messi was injured. No, it was simply because Suarez was that good. And if we take into account that Messi, even if we like kind of remove him off the picture, Suarez, I bet you that would have scored more goals, and we would have been talking about him next to someone like Ronaldo, because he was that influential with our team, not only with the goals, not only with the finishing, but also assisting, kind of working hard, pressuring from the front line. Right now, it's really easy to forget how sluggish and how slow he is, but when he was at his peak, I'm talking big striker, big striker, really, honestly, in my lifetime, the best number 9 I've seen. And then finally, right wing, we got Lionel Messi. I guess the only other nominee you could put in is Alexis Sanchez, but he hasn't been here that long as well. And Messi, literally, is the entity, the identity, the everything of our team. So he has to be here on this list. It's wonderful that he has remained for us that long. There's been some periods around this kind of decade where you're kind of thinking, oh, Messi is going to leave Barcelona or something like that. But fingers crossed, we're going to keep him for another decade. Hopefully we do. And if we don't, well, I made a video suggesting who could lead our team after he's gone. So that's gonna be everything for today, guys. Hopefully you have enjoyed. If you have any suggestions for future videos, leave me in the comment box down below. And of course, don't forget to leave your own Barcelona team of the decade. If you want me to do a team of the decade for kind of just European football, I guess I could do it as well. I really do not mind. Like I always